What's up? What's up? What's up? Y'all, I'm trying I'm trying my best to figure out this intro. Or maybe it's just supposed to come organically. I don't know. Y'all figure it out. What's up, y'all? Hi. Welcome to the Throne Talk podcast. I am your host, Micaiah Janae. Give it up for me. Everybody give it up for me. If you don't give it up for me, I'll give it up for myself. Welcome. For those of you who are new and you do not know what the Throne Talk podcast is, this is just basically a pod where I give you my queenly perspective on how to navigate through things in life. Because life be life. But I be queening. I be queening all day. That's what the intro was done by me. If you did not know, I've been queening all day. Like, I'm definitely not saying cleaning. It sounds like I'm saying cleaning, but yeah, I'm not saying cleaning. I'm saying I'm queening. I've been queening all day. I made that intro in in about 2 hours, I think. Anywho, what's up? Hi. Before we get into what we're going to get into today, I need for y'all to download this podcast, like this podcast, comment, share, save, all the things, rate. Please rate, because that is how we get it out there more for people to hear it, to be exposed to it. And I really think this is one of those pods where people they need to be tapped in, not because it's just me, but because I just feel like I'm in a season in my life where God is like really dropping the gems on me and really allowing me, not even allowing me, but I've worked hard to be in this very, very organic, confident space. And it's been beautiful. And I'm observing people, in this life and assessing things and realizing that everybody is not having this experience of or organicness, if that's what you want to call it. But yeah, so make sure you do all the things, like, share, subscribe, comment. This is YouTube, right? Oh yeah, on YouTube. Make sure y'all do that for me. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all the things. Rate the podcast, because y'all love me. I know y'all love me. I know y'all gonna look out for me. I know that's what y'all gonna do. But lately I've been putting y'all into my business. Well, the last episode, I definitely put y'all into my business just a little bit. Y'all still don't know everything. I put y'all into my business a little bit. And for the month of July, let me just talk about how January through June, I've never cried so much in my life. I need a moment of silence just for that alone, because I cried so much the first half of the year. But July has been very sweet. It's been very cute, or whatever. It's been very, very cute. Yeah, it has. Welcome to August, though. Welcome. I can't believe it's August. July was sweet, and now we are in August, and I can't wait to see what she got, what she has in store, Today's topic, today's title, get into it. Approach dating with confidence. And if you see me looking off to the side, YouTubers, I'm looking at my notes. So I posted a Serene Sunday video on YouTube called Approach Dating with Confidence. And really, as I was talking in the video, I wanted it to be approach love with confidence, because naturally my mind just goes to love and skips over dating, because I really don't date, but we're about to get into it. But I posted a video called Approach Dating with Confidence. And it's because I'm realizing, not even just from my experiences, which I don't have many or any, really, honestly and truthfully, but from other people's experiences, that they are not showing up as confident as they could be because of the fear of, being rejected, the fear of, not, or the fear of being misunderstood, when in reality, you can't care about any of those things when you are collecting data. Pastor Darius Daniels, my online pastor, he says dating is collecting data. And so sometimes we'll obsess too fast, or we want to, or sometimes in our minds, we are already in a relationship with the person and we are already altering our lives and how we move and how we operate on a day-to-day basis just to make sure that we aren't stepping on toes of the potential individual that we would like to pursue or to pursue us. And that ain't right. It's not right. But we here. So I want to give a pageant example first, which I really don't have any, but not specifically, but I will say, talk about the space that I was in when I was competing as far as dating goes. I know I always wanted that support, for someone to show up at the pageants, to be there with the flowers, because that's what all the girls had their men's coming to the pageant with flowers, showing up for them, and I wanted that. And so I also wanted the individual who I was talking to at the time to see me, and not even see me for me, but to see me for what I was doing, because I felt that, my successes, me pursuing my dreams was actually me, when really it's just, when really in reality, it's not me. And I'll put it like this. I allowed the things that I was pursuing, I thought they could validate me, and they couldn't, or prove that I was worth loving, prove that I was worth being sought after. It's like, I'm doing all of these successful things. Why aren't you here? That makes sense. Also, too, disclaimer, Victoria, my best friend, she might walk through the door. So if you see her, just say, hey, wave back. I can't see you wave back, but just wave back. Don't be rude. But I wanted the person to, I wanted to feel important. I wanted to be seen by whoever I was seeing at the time, far as in love with, dating, situationship, whatever, blah, 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 blah. To the point where after it all, after competition would be over, the competition, because it lasts about 10 days. Yeah, I check in on a Friday and leave on a Sunday the following week. And after it was over, I felt as if there was not too much more for the person to really desire or want from me. Y'all, this is so complex, but keep up with me, please. It was after it was over, I felt as though subconsciously, when I say subconsciously, really and truly subconsciously, below my conscious levels of comprehension, I felt as though you may not want me if I'm not succeeding at something, or if I'm not doing something huge, right? And it's just so I attached a lot of my worth to my endeavors. And I've come out of that mindset. I brought it from my subconscious mind to my conscious mind, and I attacked it head on. And now I'm proud to say that I don't think that way anymore. So that's not a detailed pageant example, but it is, I am letting y'all in on how I was thinking at that point in time. All right, child, fast forward to 2023. So I've been in a bubble for the past, since 2018. God told me to sit my butt down. He told me before that, but I was being disobedient, very hard-headed, seeking validation in relationships as well. Just everything on the outside, I was seeking to empower me instead of me empowering me by actually healing me, by actually just really learning who I am as an individual. I wanted other people to learn me. I wanted other people to date me and show me attention when I wasn't showing attention to myself. Make it make sense, you know? Wanting a person in my space so bad that I wasn't even paying attention to the fact that I was neglecting myself in so many ways. Now, this might be all over the place, but like I said, keep up with me. So, recently, I've come out of my bubble. I've come out of my bubble and I'm open to dating. The reason why I went into the bubble is because of those very same reasons: insecurity, seeking validation from outside sources, resources, also to just needing to heal the little girl in me, and actually face myself, face my shadows and all the ugly things, and still being able to accept who I am, and accept those darker parts of me, which ego made me feel like that I didn't have any shadow parts inside of me, that I thought everything was all good because I was doing successful things. I was aiming to be Miss South Carolina. I'm doing blase, blase, blase. I'm trying to be successful. I am successful. So therefore, I'm the catch. And therefore, you should love me. You should be operating XYZ. You should be showing up for me in this way. Why aren't you? Because I'm that girl. Ego, not realizing that, baby, I wouldn't have dated me outside of my status, outside of me being quote unquote my Kia Murphy. Now, thinking about who I was then, absolutely not. And it takes a real one to admit that. A lot of people won't admit that, but I'm bold enough and real enough to admit that from the years of 2012, from the time I graduated up until about 2018, 19, I was not ready for a relationship. The thing that I wanted so bad, a relationship, I was not ready for. I just wasn't. I was so wounded. And I'm going to just insert this in here, right? People say that high school relationships don't count, but that's a lie. That is a lie. That's a whole lie. Only because, and it's not saying that you're still stuck on your whoever you was or whoever the people were you was dealing with in high school. It's not saying that you're still stuck on these people or that person, but it does shape us in the way, like if you really think about it, it shaped how we approach relationships now. So true. Like, so true. And I'm going to give you an example. I was talking to my best friend, both of my best friends, Easy and Victoria. And I was just talking about my high school boyfriend who was so mean to me. Like, so mean to me. Like, disrespectful. To the point where he was so mean to me that he had to come back right before he proposed to his now wife. He came back and out of the blue and apologized to me because I was technically like his last girlfriend before her. Now, granted, I haven't talked to him in like a long time, but he's always been a person who has been in like long-term relationships. Like once he's with the girl, like he's with her for like years. So that's why I was technically like the last girlfriend before her, because he was with me for years and then he was with her for years, then decided to marry her. You get what I'm saying? But anyway, out of the blue, I mean, I had seen him on social media and stuff like that, but out of the blue, he was just like, I just want to apologize to you because I was so mean to you. And I'm just like, huh? Why? Like, I was like, where is this coming from? Like, yeah, you were mean to me, but why are you apologizing? He was just like, you know, I was looking through my iPod and I was just so mean to you. And I was like, let me see the messages. And he sent me the messages and I was like, yeah, I remember this moment. And like the feeling came back again. And I would, it's neither here. Like, I don't want to expose too much, but I will say there were moments where it was like public embarrassment, where you act one way in private and then in public, you act like you don't know me or I'm not your girlfriend, or saying things that would like completely, like you would try to belittle me in a sense. And it just really brought out a whole new beast in me. Like a whole, like, I didn't even know it was in me, like, honestly. And so once I graduated, I was just like, you got the right one and the two. And so I went on a revenge tour. I didn't have sex with people, but I definitely was leading people on. I call it my blue ball rampage. It was a blue ball rampage. Like, I was going around giving guys a bunch of blue balls. Like, listen, we all grown on this podcast, I hope. So if you're listening, we grown. But basically, like, leading men on and then turning them off by saying like, oh no, I don't want to go all the way. And so, like, I did that with a lot of guys, believe it or not. And it was terrible. And I just want to say, if I was ever a hoe, I would have been a good one. But the Lord stopped. He stopped me. He stopped me for sure. I almost got raped. And then that's when I was like, okay, you got to sit your butt down. So he sat me down a couple of times. But when I said that God had told me, like, I finally became still in 2018. In 2018, I was just like, okay, no distractions, just you and God, you and you. That's it. Anyway, but long story short, back to high school relationships shaping how we approach dating and love now. I remember, like I said, I went on like a whole revenge tour, and the level of trust that I could give in a relationship before just wasn't there anymore. I never knew that I could be hurt in that way. And a lot of us have been hurt in high school. And that's why I say it shapes and alters the way we approach love now. And a lot of people would like to disregard it because it's high school. Like, we should be over it. Yes, you're over it as far as like you're not wanting to pursue or commit in a relationship with this individual anymore or individuals anymore. However, there were some wounds. Like, so let's just think about it. If we are healing childhood trauma wounds from when we were younger, what makes you think that the wounds don't count in high school? Like, they count. They really, really do count. And so, my relationship that I had definitely altered and shaped the way that I approached relationships or dating or loving years after that. And it wasn't until 2018 where God was just, really 2016? I know I keep going back and forth on these times with y'all because it was just like, I'll put it like this. I partially surrendered between the years of 2012 and 2016 or 2017. I partially surrendered to God. I was just like, okay, I'm I'll give it here and there, but it wasn't like fully. 2018, I was all the way in there. I was like, my kid, something's got to give. And I put myself in a bubble to the point where I wasn't giving guys my number. I wasn't giving guys the time of day in the DMs. I still don't give guys the time of day in DMs. Let's be clear. But I was just that. I was just in that space where I was just like, look, I can't entertain anything right now. When I say phone dry, other than the guy who I was in a situationship with since I can't remember, since I was 21. I'm 29 now. And me and him, we weren't consistent. Like, we weren't consistent at all. Like, He done had a couple people he done dealt with, girlfriends, stuff like that in between. Me, like, my butt was still like, so every now and then we would have conversations, entertaining the idea of getting together. But other than that, like, there was no consistency. Like, I wasn't giving anybody far, like, I wasn't, like, so I put it like this: while I wasn't talking to him, I was still kind of like hope that I would, get back with him in a sense. But for the most part, how I approached it was, or how he approached it too, is just kind of like, we don't need to be talking right now. Like, so that gave me the space and the freedom to just figure some stuff out on my own. Like, I realized, like, even though I would like to be with you, I just can't. Not right now. I got some stuff I need to work on. Like, I just got some stuff I need to work on. He now has a girlfriend, and now I'm in the space where I'm out of my bubble and I'm ready to date. Right. And I attempted. So I think I came out of I would like to say I came out of my bubble July of last year. Hold up. Wait a minute. I'll say about January of 2022. So last year is when I came out of my bubble. A little bit. Just a little bit. There was this guy I was attracted to, without giving too many details. There was this guy that I was like heavily attracted to. But I still carried a lot of reservations. It was kind of almost like I was wanting to date, but I wasn't prepared to date. I put it like that. I wanted to, but I wasn't prepared to date. And anyway, long story short, I didn't know. I mean, I know now, as the people would say, that the dating pool is full of pee and boo boo and everything else. That's what the people say. But he was just very different. I can't even just sit up here and just be like, oh, he was da 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 da, like blah, blah. Like, I mean, yeah, we were like relatively different, but at the same time, he is who he is. But I was very attracted to him, and I attempted to try to figure some things out, but God was already like, no. He's like, nah. I was like, what? Really? Like, because I was going to ignore the red flags, because he was slightly arrogant. Yeah, he was slightly arrogant. And I was just going to ignore that red flag and just go for it, So I was just like, okay, back in my bubble I go. So I kind of try to put myself back in the bubble. And then there was this other guy who I didn't even see coming. Like, he had been observing me for a while, and I've known him for a little minute. And then one day he just decided, like, so he posted something on Instagram. And so he was like out of town on a plane. And I was like, okay, eyeball emojis. But I really wasn't thinking that me and him could try to talk or anything like that. But I was like, okay, eyeball emojis. And he was like, yeah, come fly with me. I was like, hold up. Wait a minute. Hold up. I didn't even know you was this smooth. So we kept going back and forth, flirting for a little minute. And eventually I gave him my number, which was the first time in a long time. The guy before that, the only reason why he had my number was because we were doing business together. We were doing a business opportunity together. So we had to exchange numbers, but it wasn't like me giving my number. Anyway, so fast forward to this guy I'm telling you about. I gave him my number. He was the first person I did that with in a while. So that was July of last year, 2022. Yes. Okay. In between then, there were a couple guys, like, you know how you go through that space of you feel like you're missing out, or you feel like I'm doing something wrong. So, rewind. So the guy from July 2022, it didn't work out because I I don't think I was wrong. I don't think he was wrong. I just think that I had expectations as far as like how I wanted to do the dating thing, and he approached dating in a totally different way. So basically I asked him like, why do you like look at my stories, the first person to look at my stories on social media, but you do not respond to my text, which was weird. Which granted, I don't know how you process stuff. I don't know how you go about communication, but it was just a genuine question that I asked. And I told him, I was like, I like, it's just something that I genuinely want to know. It's no pressure. Like, you ain't responding to my text. It wasn't none of that. It was just a genuine question. Like, why do you respond? Like, why do you look at my stories? One of the first people to look at my stories, but you have yet to respond to my text. And he hit me with the deuces. He was like, oh, I'm sorry, like, blah, 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 and he hit me with the deuces. So I was like, okay, cool. Then I tried to put myself back in the bubble. But then I was like, well, maybe I'm missing out. I'm missing out on life and all this other stuff. Like, maybe I need to give these guys a chance who I'm not as attracted to. Ladies, let me tell you something. Let me just go ahead and insert this in here. Men know what they want. They pursue what they want. They pursue what they are attracted to. Just because a man is pursuing you doesn't mean you just have to submit and just, oh yeah, he wants me, so now I must want him. No. They're attracted to what they're attracted to. You're attracted to what you're attracted to. Point blank, period. There's no need to apologize about that. They're pursuing you because they like you and they think you look good. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? Same thing for us. Like, if you want, they're not pursuing women they're not attracted to. Point blank, men are not pursuing women they are not attracted to. So therefore, you do not have to date a man that you're not attracted to. Simple. It doesn't go, I know we done dated some 7-ishes, some 6-ish men, like men between the scale of like 6 and 7.5. It's never an 8. It might be an 8, but then they do something and now you back down to a 7.5, 7. I know we've dated in that range or we've dealt with people in that range. But let me tell you something, baby. If you want a 10, if you want a 9, an 8.5, you could get it. Because guess what? They are pursuing 8.5s and up. That makes sense. So don't feel like, oh my God, let me just get a man that I'm just not attracted to. No. Now, you wanting a man at like 6 feet, like he got to be this tall, I mean, granted, that's your business. Because guess what? I want a man that's taller than me too. He doesn't have to be a specific height, but I would prefer for him to be at least taller than me. If not, if he's like my height, you get what I'm saying? If he's my height, I would, if he's my height, he would have to be a very special man. Because one of the guys that I mentioned before, which I'm not going to tell you which guy it is, but I really feel like he dealt with little man syndrome. So he would have to be a very confident person. That's all I got to say. But yes, ladies, like, don't settle. If you're not attracted, you're just simply not attracted. And so, long story short, this one guy, he saw me on the internet and he wanted to talk to me. So I was like, you know what? I'm not really attracted to him, but maybe I'm missing out on my blessing because I just want what I want. No, you want what you want. Anywho, so we got on the phone, he wanted to pray. After he prayed, like, I'm talking about our first conversation on the phone. Y'all know I love the Lord, but let me tell you something. I can read the room. Anyway, so he wanted to pray before we had our conversation, which I thought was pretty dope. But I'm listening to this prayer and I'm just like, no. Because I knew the prayer was to get me, like, to make me his person, like his wife. And I'm just like, I don't know if I like you yet. So I'm not amening anything. So he was like, in Jesus' name, amen. I said, oh, you pray pretty well. Like, I didn't say amen or anything, because when I say amen, that means I'm agreeing to this prayer. I didn't agree to the prayer because, for one, I don't know what your hidden agendas are. Like, I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know your heart posture to be agreeing with your prayer. Which, granted, you don't know everybody's heart posture, but it's just like, this right here is specifically about, you're interested in me. I'm trying to figure out if I'm any type of interested in you. Long story short, I wasn't. I picked up on some things, and I actually told him, what I felt like God was telling me, and he rebutted. And I had that happen to me before. This was a different guy. I didn't give him a chance because of this specific reason, but he told me, like, hey, God told me to pursue you as my wife. He was just like, he called me because he had my number because of business. But he was like, hey, God told me to pursue you as my wife. And so I was just like, oh, okay. I was like, well, God didn't tell me that. And he was just like, you sure? He was like, you want to go talk to your pastor or your mom about it? And I'm just like, hold up. Wait a minute. Like, I can hear God for myself. My mom's the elder, if you don't know. Like, she's the elder of the church. She's a very spiritual woman, a minister. And he was like, you want to talk to your mom about it or Pastor Roundtree? It's like, I was listening to something today, and it was just talking about, like, in certain situations, are you empowering people to be, powerful? And in that case, you weren't. You was trying to empower yourself and your agenda. Anyway, back to the other guy who prayed on the phone. I told him, like, hey, God, da 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 da. He tried to give me a rebuttal, and it's just like, nah, this ain't it. Cut it off in 2 days. And he didn't have my number. I was messaging him on Messenger. Like, I wasn't playing that, because it's just kind of like, okay, you are attracted to me because you believe I'm a spiritual woman that's tapped in with God. But as soon as I tell you what God has told me, now all of a sudden I'm not tapped in anymore. Make it make sense. So anyway, I respectfully, like, just told him no. I didn't let my ego get in the way of it all. I did the best I could with explaining, and then, okay. So then after that, it was a guy who I actually gave my number to, only because it was very familiar. So this was probably about, hold on, let me check my phone. So this was about October. Yeah. The last message I sent him was, it's best that I stay single. I have a few things I need to work on. And it was true. But honestly, I think I didn't. I think I gave him my number because he has always liked me. And it wasn't that I wasn't attracted to him physically, because he's a very handsome guy. And, he has things going on for himself. But he has 2 children, a baby mama. Let's be clear. Sometimes it ain't the kids. It's the baby mama. And he's always been attracted to me since we were, like, in high school. And so, and just the little flirtatious messages that happen throughout the years. Like, I always wanted you, stuff like that. Like, when you gonna stop playing, stuff like that. So I was just like, let me just try, because I was in that mindset from this time right here. I was actually, let me tell you something. I was actually messaging the other guy on Messenger at the same time that I was talking to this guy. So I guess you could call this dating. Baby, it was too much for me. Both of them was out in a week. Nah. And then I went back into my bubble. I do not play. Like, I don't have the capacity. Back in the day when I was, seeking validation, and I was operating out of ego, yes, I could talk to multiple people at one time. But, like, when I was younger, about 19, 20, 21, I could do it. But now it's like, baby, I don't got time to play with people. Kids, I just don't, And so I put myself back in the bubble in October, because I knew that I was moving too fast. Like, my reasons for trying to do it were not as pure as they could have been. So fast forward. So that was what, October. Went back into my bubble. October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. 8 months I went back into that bubble. Because I was like, I need to reassess some stuff again. Okay. Like I genuinely need to reassess some stuff again. And I think within those 8 months, I know for a fact that within those 8 months, I was able to tap into another side of myself to create this whole new confidence and approach to quote unquote dating. My reasons before was just out of fear of missing out, honestly and truthfully. And now I'm in a space where it's just like, I'm not going to miss out. Not on what's for me. I'm just not, So I want to give you, like, recently, oh, baby, this is some tea. I slid. Should I tell y'all this? I kind of slid into a guy's DM because I was that attracted to him. But I'm in a space where I'm just like, I'm a grown ass woman. And it's like, there's no hidden agendas. Like, I have no hidden motives. I'm not trying to manipulate you to think I'm attractive or anything. It's just like, look, I just want to present who I am as a woman because I like the way you've presented, who you are as a man first interaction, because I saw him in a space with people. And it's like, I just genuinely want to know, like, who you are. Like, who are you? Like, who are you to even, influence me or make me feel like I could slide in a DM or two? And it's just like, there's nothing to be afraid of. I know Pastor Darius Daniels, he said that his wife, they was at a party and his wife slid the number. It was just like, hey, if you're interested, call me. Like, she put herself out there. And so I was just like, like, I could do that, but I'm not doing that with, I don't play that. So there's very few men who stop me in my tracks or can make me be that intrigued to even make it known that, hey, look, I'm interested, but it wasn't nothing crazy. It was just like, hey, how you doing? I just genuinely, I feel like you're a genuine person. And I just wanted to say, hey, so it wasn't like that, because I've now realize that you can't just assume that you are meant to be with someone just off of infatuation. Infatuation it's going out the door. Like, for me, it don't even last long. And so I have to, like, I approached it I was very proud of the way I approached it. And I even sent it to my guy best friend, Easy, and he was like, you did good. And I was like, thank you. I'm so proud of me, like, so proud of me. But now I will say, like, even though I'm not, like, dating, I'm really not dating anyone right now. Like, no one, right? But I'm open to it. And I know now I can approach it confidently just off of me just trying to slide into that guy's DM alone. Let me know, like, oh, girl, you a woman. Like, you a whole woman, because I'm in the space where I just have nothing else to prove. And I don't need anyone else or any situation to validate who I am as a woman. I just don't. I don't need it. It's good to have. It's only confirmations for me at this point. Like, if somebody gives me a compliment, it's something that I already know, or they are affirming something that I already know, or they're coming to help me realize it, but they are not the, how can I say it? They are not the gatekeeper to my confidence, if that's the word, if that's what you want to call it. So now I'm just approaching this thing like, here's my presentation. This is what I have for you. I'm making this presentation because this woman that I'm presenting to you is a very beautiful woman. Like, this woman here, she adds value. She's beautiful. She's sacred. She knows her worth. She knows how to show up in situations. She's very aware of her triggers, her traumas, her shadows. She's done the work on herself, and she's able to love you purely if it was to ever get to love, right? She is very aware of who she is in an egotistical state. She, like, I am that girl, and all I can do is present myself. That's it. That's it. Present my packaging. And if I like your package, you like my package, then maybe we can, get into this thing together or see where it goes. And not even put, even that, like, I had to release my idea of how this love thing works. And it hasn't happened the way I wanted to yet. Far as like, I thought I was going to be married at what, 23? No, I'm 29. I wouldn't mind getting married at 35. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Only because it takes real work. And I don't have a problem with being single, believe it or not. Even though I've always had that dream for myself to be somebody's wife. I know how to be single because majority of the people in my family are single on my mom's side. Now my dad's side, that's the other side of me. Straight lovers. Just lovers. Like, but my mom's side, like my grandmother is single. My mom is single. My sister is single. My aunt, she is currently going through a transition with her significant or her husband. My uncle's single, no kid, and one day I think I was at a family function and I was just like, there's no in-laws here. It's just us. Like, no in-laws. Like before, it was my aunt's husband and their kids and stuff, but that was it. My mom got married. She's been married 3 times, divorced 3 times. But now, like, there's no in-laws. Like my uncle, he was married, divorced. My Mima, she's been married, divorced. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we're very loving people, but it's giving my mama's side of the family, they don't mind being single. It's like, I can do it. Like, I can do better by myself. Like, I can, you know what I'm saying? So that's all I've been exposed to. On my dad's side, like I said, they're lovers, but the relationships, they're always going to be like, they're always going to get into a relationship. And my grandmother and my grandpa and my papa, they were actually married until my grandmother deceased. And even that, it's just kind of like, I think that's where a lot of that comes from. We've seen it from our grandparents, my dad's parents, and it just motivated us to want to have a relationship. But I believe we haven't always made the best decisions. I'm going to say we haven't always made the best decisions as it pertains to relationships. But it's like, we always want one. We're very passionate people on my dad's side. So I have to find the balance between being like super independent, single black woman, and very passionate and wanting to love somebody. Oh, just wanting to love. So I've created a very, very healthy balance at this state of my life. And I'm very proud of her. And like I said, I'm to the point now where I would date me. I'm actually dating me, but I would be with me. Back in the day, I know for a fact I wouldn't have been with me. But now I would definitely be with me. I'm just like, girl, you are it. And that makes it even more difficult to date. Not even difficult in the sense like, oh my God, there's nobody out there for me, more so than it is like everybody's not supposed to be in your space in that way. No. Yeah, I've worked hard to be this person. Like, I am a woman of discernment and discipline. The man that God has for me has to be a man of discernment and discipline. Point blank, period. Like, he has to be. I'm not accepting anything less than that. Like, he has to be a person who discerns, who can discern things and apply discipline when necessary. If he doesn't, like, off gate, I could tell you, like, how you move. I'm just like, he lacks discipline. And it's not saying that you won't make mistakes, that people don't make mistakes, but it's just like where it seems like no discipline is being applied in your life and you're not reading the room or discerning, then it's just like, that's not something I can help you with, because that is inner work. That is individual work. I cannot be of an assistance, not in this capacity, not in a relationship capacity. Maybe like as a friend, a homegirl, something like that, but no. And so now that I am here, I know that I could date pretty well. And I have some pretty good people in my life who keeps me on track as it pertains to, this dating thing. Because my friends, they've they've been dating for a little minute. So I just be like, what y'all feel about this? Because sometimes I haven't been out here for real. So it's just kind of like, what does this mean? They looked at my story. They like my story. That mean they like me? I'm just trying to figure out like, oh my God, like what's going on? Or, they took a couple days to text back. What is, which granted, like I said, I'm not dating anyone now, but I know that it's not just me, but I have a team of people. I have family and friends behind me who are helping me navigate through it in a healthy way. So, so this podcast episode was about approaching dating with confidence, but you cannot do that if you haven't done the work. So this is how you could be confident. So you can be confident. The ways to be confident is by being still. But first you must be aware that you need to be still. I knew I needed to sit my butt down somewhere. I knew it. I was just like, man, like, you are going nowhere fast, Miss Ma'am. It's time for you to slow down. And I knew I was doing more damage than good. So I had to say, Makia, it's time for you to stop doing things your own way. And you have to be still and figure out why you are moving the way that you are moving, why you are responding to life the way that you are, how you're responding. You must know, because you're bleeding out. I was looking at Wallow. He was on the Know For Sure podcast with B. Simone and Megan Ashley. And he was like, yeah, you be bleeding out. And that's what I was doing. He was basically saying like bleeding out as in like a wound that hasn't been tended to. And it was time for me to tend to my wounds. So being still is the first way, or the first step to being confident. Just in general, not just for dating, but in general. Then the next thing is being vulnerable with self. When I was still, like when I was in my bubble, when I chose to be still and I was in my bubble, there were some ugly things that I realized about myself. And I made a status on Facebook the other day about how when I first decided that I was going to fully surrender to God, I was praying to God in the journal. And I was like, yeah, God, I pray that he changes, blah, 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 da, 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 da. And God was just like, what about you, though? And I was like, oh, okay. It was a mirror, because at that time I had just started journaling my prayers. So I was able to see my thoughts. They were actually like in physical form. And I was like, wow, you got work to do on yourself, Miss Ma'am. So let's not be judgmental. And as I embarked that journey, it led me to some other paths that I didn't realize lived in me. And I had to go down each little side road, and figure out, why is this here? Why is this present? And I couldn't run away from me. I wanted to. If I would have ran away from me, it would have looked like not being still anymore, me acting out of rebellion, me doing things that I know that God was not pleased with. But instead, I stayed with me. See, y'all, I ain't gonna say y'all, we as humans, we want to stay with people through thick and thin, through better and for worse. But baby, let me tell you something. You don't know nothing about thick and thin and for better or for worse until you have dealt with yourself. That will almost like destroy you and break your heart. And I pray God's grace for you as you are in this experience. If you're experiencing it now or later, I pray for God's grace for you, because it breaks you down, but to the simplest form, to the purest form of yourself. So being still is the first step to being confident. Being vulnerable with self is the first step with being confident. And the last one is being aware and discerning. So after I was still, after I was vulnerable with myself, now my eyes are open. I'm aware. But now I have to discern with other people and decide what should be allowed into my space. So yes, you got XYZ and you marking, you checking off all the things on the list as it pertains to this. But according to this part of me, I need to be able to see more of how you would handle me in that situation, not just what I'm bringing to the table as far as like what I put on social media, the way I look, because I'm attractive, because I'm succeeding at certain things, It's like I know I have this side of me, which I don't activate unless I need to, or unless it's, I'm triggered by an individual who activates it in me. So I have to be very careful about who I allow into my space, because yes, I've healed. Yes, I've done the work. Yes, I'm vulnerable with self. But at any given time, if you allow anybody into your space consistently, if you commit to anything that is the opposite of who you want to be, you're not that strong enough to maintain that healing part of you, or you're not that strong enough to maintain that confidence as long as you're with that individual, because it's you choosing to allow this person to take up space. And when they take up space, what are they taking from you? So I said all that to say, like I said, you have to be able to discern, like, even though you're fine, even though you got it all together, or even though you have this job, even though, people love you and you're popular, it's just like, I need to be able to discern if this is for me. Point blank, period. If this is for me. I've been hearing this quote for a little minute now, but people have been saying, like, people might be good people, but are they good for you? You got to realize what's good for you, and you'll never know what's good for you until you actually do the work on yourself. So these are the 3 ways that you could be confident, just confident in general. But for this specific podcast episode, to how to get the confidence, how to approach dating with confidence. And that is to be still, recognize that you need to be still, then you actually be still, be vulnerable with yourself, and be able to discern what's for you, what's not for you. And if I had to add another one, it's to be disciplined, because the desires, the infatuation phase is wild. Like, it'll make you feel like it feels almost similar to love, right? And it's not. It's just your surface level desires being ignited, and you want to act on them because they're so strong. But you have to maintain discipline even in that phase, because how many times have we acted on that infatuation and we're like, oh my God, this is the love of my life, blah, blah, blah. 2 months later, boop, you hate the person. And why? You get what I'm saying? It's just like, so was it true in the beginning or was it not? Like, you have to give things time to really figure out, like, if this is for me or not. So you got to have patience and you got to be disciplined. So stillness, vulnerable with self, discern, discipline. Yeah. That is how you can approach dating with confidence, which means that I'm not just telling you to go out here and date. I'm telling you essentially to work on yourself, date yourself, and then you'll be able to be this confident individual to go out into the world and find the love of your life. All right. That is it. I think that is episode 17. Y'all, don't judge me. Let me see. I'm going to pull my phone out real quick. Episode 17. Yes. Approach dating with confidence. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I will see y'all for episode 18. I love y'all, and I hope y'all have a great day. And yeah.